There's a lot of pressure on the bumhole for all people who play brass instruments. You could look in their bags and they'd all have some hemorrhoid cream. Hello, my name's Jenny Eclair and this is my ultimate episode from Series 15.
And for show 3, they've each brought in what they think is the most heroic thing.
OK, the biggest hero in my life was my father, who's now dead, so obviously I get some points for that. And I've got some of his DNA. I brought his DNA in.
Here it is, Jenny Eclair's father's DNA.
It's his hair.
Oh, God.
I mean, it could have come off any grey-haired bloke, couldn't it? In actual fact, I could have cut it off somebody on the 176 bus. But I didn't. It was actually my father. It was a lock of my father's hair. I mean, I think all good fathers are heroes to their children. They should be. That's kind of the yardstick of being a good dad. And I think that if my dad was alive now, he would kill Putin. I genuinely do think that he would find a way of killing him with his bare hands or a golf club.
Obviously, Jenny's father, R.I.P., gets 5 points.
5 points.
5 points. 5 points, yeah, for the dead dad. Well done, me. I've got a good amount of fake tan on there as well. The prize tasks for me were a struggle. It's a weird one because you've got plenty of homework time. It's the only thing that you know before you do the series. You get sent a sheet of paper with all these prize tasks on, and immediately your brain seizes up and you cannot think of anything. I think I was sitting in my study, and in the drawer in my study desk, since my father died, I kept this. He was then joined by a lock of my mother's hair, and it's in it's not very glamorous, but you know, an Oyster card carrier, you know, the little sort of wallet thing. Well, I've got my mum's on one side and my dad's in the other. Short story about my mum and dad. My mum went swimming in the 1950s and caught polio because she was quite competitive. And my father heard that she had polio, and he hitchhiked back from Cyprus where he was fighting the baddies. And he burst into my mother's hospital room and said, June, because she was paralysed at this point, June was her name, you will walk again when you walk down the aisle to marry me. That's the kind of bloke he was. I mean, he never, ever uttered another romantic statement after that. That was it. That used up every bit of romance. But they had a very, very strong and loving relationship. And that makes him a bit of a hero as well. Yeah.
Get all the rubber rings on your barge pole.
It's like a narwhal thing.
You may not touch the barge pole or rubber rings at any point with my hands.
You have a maximum of half an hour.
Are you ready to go?
I'm sort of ready to go, but I know this isn't a very good idea.
I know I have limited capacity when it comes to vehicles. I do drive a car, and there are quite a lot of comics that don't drive cars because there is a theory that I heard very early on in my career that comics shouldn't be allowed to drive. And I kind of buy into that quite a lot because there's sort of... I once nearly killed Stuart Lee and another comedian, giving them a lift home because I went the wrong way down a dual carriageway. And we saw the lights of a car coming on the same side of the road. And I just hopped the car. It was an old Daimler. It was a nice car. And I hopped it up onto the central reservation. And then we all sat there for a while in this horrible stunned silence until I managed to do a sort of 28 manoeuvre turn to get back on the other side and carry on the journey. But since then, I've always paid for a tour driver, a tour manager. So, yeah, I shouldn't have been put in charge of a barge.
I'm full steaming ahead.
You are. One rubber ring.
I'm so sorry.
It was a great task. I mean, it was desperately exciting. And I really thought I was going to do quite well for a moment, and then it all went a bit tits up. I'm an insurance liability. I mean, there aren't many jobs that will take me on anymore. You know, my agent keeps trying to get me on Dancing on Ice. They're not having it. They know that, you know, that I'd sue the fuck out of them.
We're going quite fast towards the wall.
So close.
We're going to hit the wall quite fast.
Brace, brace, brace.
I'm bracing.
I'm so sorry.
No, that's all right.
That bit of brace got into the title sequence of Series 15. And so I was very proud of that because it meant that I think I was the first face people saw when they were tuning in to the series. What larks.
There were 3 crashes, right?
We showed 3.
Yeah.
The most spectacular of which involved you knowing you were going to crash, not attempting to stop or steer away, just simply shouting brace.
At that point, I forgot what you could do entirely.
The worst thing about the final crash into the metal wall was that there was a sound guy in the bowels of the boat, and he came out and you could tell that he had very bad tinnitus, and he was really shaken up, and I think he had to be taken away for a little while to sit down and have some cups of tea. I just fucked off in this car to Manchester. But there we go. I had to get up to Manchester because the next day I was going to do, I think, 5 recordings of Countdown as the host because Colin Murray had COVID. And at the time on Countdown, they were looking for a new host. And I just thought, oh, God, I could do with a very nice, easy sit-down gig, you know, because I'm knackered. I'm in my 60s now. And really, you know, it's time I got a nice behind-a-desk kind of gig. And so I was quite keen to get up to Manchester for an early night and be fresh as a daisy the next day and get this, you know, nab the show. And I didn't, obviously, because Colin Murray's still there and they haven't asked me on since. But I had a really nice time. But I do remember getting up to Manchester and undressing, because you have to. And I saw in the mirror that my chest was quite bruised. I actually did incur some sort of 3rd-degree bruising because I really, really smacked myself into the steering column. But the whole thing about barges, they're very counterintuitive because, you know, it's like back for forward and forwards for backwards and left and right are the wrong way around. And it's just like, it's not, I never wanted to be a barge driver. It was never, you know, part of my thing as a little girl. I never said, oh, one day, please, 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 can I drive a barge? I mean, obviously it was a lovely opportunity. And it was a beautiful day. And, but God, I felt bad. I felt guilty because I knew that there had been financial damage. I knew that we could not have done that task and not ended up owing some money to somebody. But the way I saw it, nobody got killed.
Hello, this is exciting. I'm Jenny.
Hello, I'm Joe.
What have you got? You got a trumpet?
Yep.
How marvellous. Do you have piles as well?
It's absolutely true about trumpeters and piles. I read it somewhere. I read it somewhere before the internet, so it wasn't even on the internet. It was before that. It was in a book. Because there's so much effort with the blowing, and you can't, because it's quite controlled as well. It comes through your arse, not your mouth. So there's a lot of pressure on the bumhole for all people who play brass instruments. I mean, you could do a survey on an orchestra, and if you said put your hands up if you've got piles, anybody who played a sort of trumpety blowy thing would say, yeah, I've got piles. You could look in their bags and they'd all have some hemorrhoid cream.
Compose a solo for this 41-year-old man. I was right. He doesn't say that. Compose a solo for this musician.
The solo must be original.
And less than 30 seconds long. That's a blessing.
You have 5 minutes.
Your time starts now.
What I'll do is I'll just sing some notes and you just follow it, OK? Loo-loo-loo.
I am totally unmusical. It's always massively held me back because, you know, if I was musical, I wouldn't have had to do stand-up, would I? Which has, you know, ruined my life. And I could just have been... Well, I always say that if I could have sung, I would have been Debbie Harry, you know, because I'd have slotted very easily into that lifestyle and her kind of thing. Sadly, though, I was always hampered by the fact that no musical ability whatsoever.
Can I take that task off you, Frankie? And can I swap it for that one? Oh, while you're here, having that as well.
Make something that looks like this musician's musical instrument.
Then mime to your new solo.
You may not use a musical instrument in the creation of your musical instrument.
Best performance wins.
I've got 15 minutes in my time, Joe. It starts
Has it
now.
started, yeah?
It started now.
Pretty good.
Finished?
Yeah.
OK.
I enjoyed that. I like the art tasks in Taskmaster because I think I've got a chance. I am quite arty, and the kitchen is very well equipped. It's as if somebody has, you know, had some forethought about what people might need. You know, there was a funnel, there was a tube, you know, the tinfoil tube, and then I did think it was a stroke of genius when I saw the coffee stoppers. I thought, yeah, Jenny, you've cracked this. And I remembered the tune, and I had a lovely time.
I'd like now to play for you a solo piece called the Ni 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 Na Na song. And give me a 1, give me a 2, give me a 1, 2, 3. Thank you very much. I think I might have piles now.
Another task in which I think I triumphed with 5 points, though I do remember thinking that everybody did rather well on this task.
Composer solo, less than 30 seconds, composer solo.
Good fun. I think the thing with Taskmaster that it can expose your weaknesses, but sometimes your weaknesses are other people's strengths. And that's okay when you're doing a team task, because in my team, I had Kyle and May.
Look, we have another friend. Hello.
Yo, what's that then?
Hey,
You all right?
how are you?
All good, yeah?
Would you like to hold the potato?
I'd love to.
There you go. Enjoy.
Thank you.
May is very clever indeed. So Kyle and I learnt to keep our trap shut and just do whatever they said to do. And I was particularly grateful to be in a team task with those two when we had another musical task, because I was just able to sort of sit in the background while they kind of battled out a tune and some lyrics. Aquamarine, cadmium yellow, viridian. That was a very good effort, Jenny. Well done.
What do you think this is?
Frying pan.
A Victorian satellite.
I think this is like a World War II bomb.
Be careful.
I'll put the safety gloves on.
Of course, if it's a bomb.
Yeah.
Okay.
Rotate the pulper wheel without pulping the egg.
You must not move from this spot at any point. If you pulp the egg, you are disqualified.
Most rotations wins.
You have a maximum of 10 minutes.
It was a big old machine. And, you know, it's the sort of thing that when you were on a class trip to the Industrial Revolution Museum or whatever, you would not be able to touch it. You'd be told, please do not touch. So to be given license to touch something that obviously you shouldn't really touch is terribly exciting.
That's the egg. I haven't even done a single rotation yet, have I?
No.
Oh, fuck it, pulp the egg. It's more fun to pulp it. Pulp the stupid egg. Yeah, get the egg pulped. I'm not going to win anyway.
hadn't watched Taskmaster very much because by series 15, I was sick to death of not having been asked. I was furious. So I'd stopped watching, like, probably about... Well, I never watched it on Dave because Dave have never employed me. So I never, ever watch anything on Dave. I only watch channels that have employed me and programmes that have employed me. Many, many things I haven't ever seen. Some of them are probably quite good, but I'm not watching them because it's rude that they haven't invited me on. It's like 8 out of 10 Cats and Would I Lie to You, and Countdown does 8 out of 10 Cats, whatever that is. I've never seen it because I've never been invited on it, so why should I, you know? This business is built on spite, and people should never, ever forget that.
Oh, pulp, who's there? Get it, pulp! I want you smashed to smithereens.
You've still got 9 minutes.
What? I can't keep this up for another 9.
I loved that day in that warehouse. It was full of extraordinary, exciting things. It was really dangerous. It had that element of danger as well, sort of thing that makes you feel 11 years old, because I was born in 1960 and I'd been 11 in 1971, and it was still the time when you went out to play and you went quite far and you did quite dangerous things, and you got into derelict places and you threw stones at glass. And so it took me back to that sort of fun times. Just that kind of industrial chic of it all as well. There was something very warehousey and kind of, I don't know, it's like the ideal place to make a pop video. So, you know, always in the back of my head, I'm making a pop video.
It's smashed, isn't it? The egg's smashed.
It's 11.
I think an egg could survive this. It's not the egg. 13. I want to stop on
13.
OK.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Thanks, Jenny.
Now, that was the task that Ivo did something very clever, and he manipulated the circle he was standing on to go all the way around the equipment, and he could see what was going on. It was very, very clever. I mean, I blew that one, but I just think visually it was a terribly exciting thing to watch, and doing it, physically doing it, was kind of a powerful thing, because you don't get your hands on that kind of machinery that often. I was so ripe for that day. It was just such an insane day. I felt really lucky. I don't often do that, what I call assembly room laughing, which is the slightly out of control laughing. I went to an all-girls school. It's very obvious. That's why I've got a lot of problems. But what you get from an all-girls school is what I call this assembly room hysteria, because girls can really make each other laugh, which they wouldn't do if boys were there, because it's often because somebody's let off, and you know, if boys were there, the girl would die on the spot. But the fact that there were no boys there just meant that the girls would get hysterical. And this sort of catching hysteria that went down lines in assembly, and this sort of that hopeless, helpless, knowing that if you laugh anymore, you're going to be sick, wet yourself, or get a detention. And I really like that kind of laughing. I think that we don't get opportunities to laugh like that often enough, just where stuff is really physically funny and it's stupid and it's out of control and there's no reason for it. And that's what I really love about Taskmaster, is how unreasonably ridiculous it all is, that there is no point. There's absolutely, but that is kind of its cleverest thing, because, you know, life is often really fucking pointless. So you might as well laugh while you're having this sort of pointless years, decades of living. Yeah, that was a huge life highlight, which is ridiculous, really, but it was.
Convince the Taskmaster that your feet are not in ice when they are in ice, or that your feet aren't in ice when they are in ice. You must keep your feet either in ice or not in ice for 30 seconds before the Taskmaster makes his judgment. If the Taskmaster is correct, you are disqualified. Last player standing wins.
Yes, so just to explain, there is ice in their boxes. There's little trays of ice. You're going to have 30 seconds to either get in it or not get in it. Greg will be watching you, so you can do whatever you want within that box to convince him you are not what you are.
I really like the studio task because there is a kind of... You have to abandon all hopes, dreams, desires. It's just you have to give in to whatever the task is and you have no idea. And for a performer like me that has always been very scripted, do shows like this, I think I am better doing them at my age than I would have been 30 years ago because of the not caring. There would have been a time earlier on in my career where this would have frightened me a lot more. The studio task would have frightened me more. And I just found them thrilling, really, the audience being there, this ridiculous build-up of everything, the staging of it, the kind of theatrics, and how it becomes kind of a bit Roman gladiatory, and I haven't got any embarrassment glands left. You know, some just rotted away underneath my armpits, and a few others I had surgically removed because they were a nuisance. And I have no embarrassment at all anymore, none whatsoever, to my detriment quite often. But I really, genuinely don't give a shit. Oh.
I take it your feet are really ice cold, are they, Jenny?
You might think that.
I don't really... I've got quite a high threshold of pain, to be quite honest. So I didn't find it that painful. And, I had a lot of fake tan on, which acts as an extra skin. And I think I was appalled by the sight of my feet because I hadn't... I've never, ever had a professional toe job, by which I mean a pedicure. I'm not that kind of woman. I'm a very DIY beautician. I've had help today, but I always do my own nails, and I hadn't bothered with my toenails. I really wasn't expecting to reveal my gnarly trotters. So I was quite glad. I think I was trying to hide them as much as anything in the ice, because they were a disgrace.
Jenny Eclair. Not ice.
I did my overacting, my usual overacting, and Greg fell for it. I was very glad to win that. Yes, I think I won that episode. Yes, that was nice. Yes, how lovely. When you're part of a Taskmaster series, there's something you will never forget, the 5 that you were in with, and it is very bonding. And I do think that we looked fabulous as well for that last episode as the Sergeant Pepper. I obviously will claim it was my idea. I'm not quite sure whether it was. I don't know whether it's me or Ivo. He'll probably claim it. It's very climactic. It's it's the end of it, and you know that unless you win, you won't be coming back. And it was very much pointing towards. I don't think there was any chance that anybody was going to take it away from May at this point. I can't remember how close it was, but I don't even think it was that close. And it was May winning, Kyle second, me third, Frankie fourth, and Ivo very proudly fifth. What fun we had. It was really tremendous. Very nice. I wish they'd do a third place champion of champions, but I don't think that's on the cards. So that was my ultimate episode of Series 15, which you can watch in its entirety on channel4.com and YouTube.
For more Taskmaster, subscribe now.